I'm Rick Kaler, and thank you for joining me. Brian flipped on MSNBC to catch the stock market's closing numbers. It was March 9th, 2009. A visibly shaken reporter was telling viewers that the Dow Jones had fallen to 6,547, its lowest closing in over 13 years. Retirement accounts had lost trillions of dollars, and many experts expected the market to continue to fall. Some experts were predicting 1,500 on the Dow. Brian's heart began racing, his hands sweating. He grabbed the phone and ordered his investment advisor to sell all of his investments and move everything he had to money market funds. Now, psychologists, investment advisors, and neuroscientists will agree what Brian did was not rational. But he reacted to the decline of the stock market as if his life were in danger. While watching stock markets fall is not very enjoyable, there was no real emergency. Consider this, he and his wife were in their mid-50s. They were still working. They had about $1 million in retirement accounts that they wouldn't need for another 10 years. The volatility in their portfolio wasn't going to affect their current cash flow or lifestyle. Had Brian held out and done nothing, his retirement portfolio would have gained $300,000 by the end of the year. Instead, he locked in losses of $250,000 the day he sold. His panic selling cost him $550,000. Now, unfortunately, Brian has a brain that is not well equipped to handle complicated financial decisions, and neither do the rest of us. Our brains were splendidly designed to handle physical threats. If a saber-toothed tiger was bearing down on one of our ancestors, his brain would kick in and go into high gear, preparing him to move out of harm's way or help him fight for his life. It's hard to run from or fight a stock market. It's hard to run from or fight the volatility in the stock market. But our perception of danger is just the same as if the stock market were a saber-toothed tiger. Now, to understand this, our brain is divided into three sections. The upper section, or the cerebral cortex. The middle section, which is called the limbic system. And the lower brain, which is called the basal ganglia. Now, the upper brain, the cortex, is where we reason. The middle brain, the limbic system, is where we react to emotional impulse. And the lower brain is what regulates the operations of the body. Our limbic system, that middle brain, is where our emotions reside. This middle brain has one function: to move us toward pleasure or away from danger. The very word emotion suggests movement. Difficult emotions like fear, anger, and sadness can cause the limbic system to move us away from a perceived danger, while joy and peace and happiness move us toward a perceived benefit. There is no gray with the limbic system. It's black or white, good or bad, I'm moving toward or I'm moving away. Now, when Brian heard the television commentator deliver bad economic news, his limbic system reacted reflexively to a perceived threat, much as it would react to a real physical threat. It immediately sent a message to the lower brain to prepare to fight or flee. His heart started beating faster, the blood flow to his stomach reduced, and his palms became sweaty. The limbic system also disconnected most of the upper brain's ability to reason. So now the limbic system was ready to evoke motion, by making a seemingly rational decision to move out of harm's way. And it did that by eliminating the threat of the market that the market was sending by calling his advisor and selling his investments. Now, fortunately, neuroscientists have found that we can rewire our brains to separate the actions from our emotions. Now, this is done by creating new neural pathways between the cortex and the limbic system. A number of methods help the brain accomplish this, and they include cognitive behavioral therapy, financial therapy, experiential therapy, brain training, and awareness meditation. Now, the one common denominator with all of these is that they take time and practice, and yes, some money. Now, if you don't think that you have the time or money to engage in these methodologies, just remember Brian. Had he invested some time, effort, and money into rewiring his brain, he would be some $550,000 richer today. Thanks for joining me.